back to another video. So today we're back to review the new Chainsaw Man chapter 200. So you can tell by when this video is being uploaded that it's been a minute since the chapter actually came out, but I've been really busy with IRL stuff. And also, I kind of wanted to wait, the longer it was taking me to do it, wait closer to like when the next chapter comes out. Because we actually, after this chapter, we went on a 2-week break, and the next chapter is coming out this Tuesday. So I kind of like lined it up a bit to where you're getting this Saturday, and then the new chapter comes out Tuesday. I'm gonna drop the review on Tuesday because that chapter is gonna be very, very exciting because of everything that happens in this chapter. So let's get into it. So the chapter continues with Denji and Asa hanging out, and we see that Asa is shooting the sun with her bang ability, and Denji's like, "What are you doing?" And then Asa says, "Shooting the sunset because I hate sunburns." And then Denji's like, "I bought us some grub at the convenience store," and then Asa like accuses him of stealing it. Like, and then Denji's like, "Nah, I didn't steal it. I just found it off a dead person's body, so they don't really need it no more." And then Asa's like, "That's sick. That's appalling." And then Denji's like, "Then don't eat it." And then Asa decides to eat it, and she says, "Convenience store food is full of toxic additives." And then Denji's like, "Then don't eat it." And Asa says, "I can eat it because I'm a toxic woman now." And Denji like remarks that it was cool that she's like a toxic woman now. And then Asa tells Denji that, "You were right. I should only do fun things. I don't have to think about the unpleasant things." And then Denji's like, "Did I say that? Like, I don't remember saying that." And Asa's like, "You did. During class, in the bath, before I fall asleep, I used to always be thinking about the bad things. I was always pissed off at everyone for living normal lives while I was going through hell." Turns out they were just trying not to think about it. Hearing this, it's just more and more I see Asa in these chapters, and more and more I just want to make a part 2 to my Asa video. Because she has changed so much to where the beginning of the series was. She was a person that was jealous of other people, envious of other people, upset at other people for being happier than her, or just enjoying their lives while she was going through hell. But then we're reaching the point of the story where she realizes that just because people are happy doesn't mean bad things are happening to them. And it doesn't also mean that those bad things are getting ignored. It's just that sometimes people got to not think about bad stuff to get through the day. And when I read this is really, really relatable. And it shows that, like, a lot of times as people, there's a lot of bad things that happen in the world. And sometimes we use things like video games or movies, or we use things like our hobbies to get through the day, or just to like move past the bad thoughts. And because someone's happy and you're not, doesn't mean that that person isn't going through struggles or going through their own things. And Asa's realizing that, and she's becoming more and more in tune with herself to where it's okay for her to do some of those toxic things as long as that she's happy. You know what I'm saying? Which there's levels to this, right? Her toxic is different from like my toxicity or someone else's toxicity or Yoru's toxicity. You know what I'm saying? It's just showing that like sometimes people do those things just to escape from the sad reality they're in. And sometimes it's not a bad thing. And I think that's actually really, really interesting and adds more to Asa's character. And as soon as Asa finishes the meal, you can even see at the bottom of the panel that you see the lines appear over her face. So you see that the switch into Yoru happens. And Yoru says, "Denji, join me for some post-meal exercise." And we see is Yoru and Denji riding around town in a bicycle shooting the Chainsaw Man army, the fake Chainsaw Man army. And so we even see Asa shoot like one of the fake Chainsaw Men, and then actually like his head explodes and then falls into like the actual basket that they're riding in the that's in the bicycle. And this panel is just so nice. You actually get to see Asa and Denji enjoying themselves, like laugh. No, I said Asa. I meant to say you get to see Denji and Yoru enjoying themselves, and it's so weird if you really reread all of part 2, and you see how far Yoru is. Like, she wanted to kill Chainsaw Man. If you read the beginning of Chainsaw Man part 2, you would never expect to see a panel like this, where it's just Yoru and Denji just enjoying themselves, like actually laughing, and you can see that like Yoru actually loves Denji in a sick, twisted type of way. Like, she is not a good person. Like, she's assaulted both Denji and Asa throughout the story, done terrible, terrible things, and just Fujimoto showing more and more that Yoru's not a good person. But it's just so crazy that in this moment, both of them are having the most fun ever, and Yoru is also having fun. Like having fun with Denji, and she's even confirmed that she's falling in love with Denji. Her excuse is that it's because Asa's in love with Denji, so her feelings are kind of affecting Yoru. but I think Yoru's also changing like Asa is and growing. That doesn't mean Yoru's not a bad person. Like, she's a terrible person. It's just showing that like they are changing and growing throughout the story to where not only Asa's able to have fun, but Yoru's able to have fun with Denji and just enjoy each other's company. Like, this is probably the happiest that both of them have been, especially Denji, in a minute. So this is like one of my favorite panels. I think like if I had to reread all of part 2 again, I think this would probably be in my top 10 favorite panels. It was just really nice to see. And so we actually get into the really big stuff of the chapter that's gonna pay off in chapter 201. We see that Denji and Yoru see fake Chainsaw Man. And mind you, this is the first time they've seen this form of fake Chainsaw Man, like in his all nasty glory and stuff like that. And this is after the Death Devil took control of fake Chainsaw Man and Fei-Ming. So this is a mind-controlled fake Chainsaw Man that's about to fight Denji and Yoru. And then Denji's like, that one looks like a big shot. And then Yoru aims her bang ability at the fake Chainsaw Man, and he actually deflects the bang. Just like deflects the projectile, and it actually hits like side buildings. And this panel's really cool. Like, when this is animated, I don't know, 7 years from now, it's gonna look really cool. Both Denji and Yoru fall out of the bicycle. And then fake Chainsaw Man says, should Chainsaw Man be riding a bicycle with a girl? And then Denji is surprised by that. And then fake Chainsaw Man says, should the solitary warrior from hell be flirting with a girl? And then Denji's like, that ain't my backstory. And I just love that Denji always tries to shut down when people try to make him out to whatever he's not. Like, he used to be so mad back in the beginning of part 2 whenever people were claiming what Chainsaw Man was and stuff like that. And even in part 1, whenever people would claim what Chainsaw Man's supposed to be, what Poshida's supposed to be. Like, Makima also said things like this, where she was like, Chainsaw Man shouldn't be happy, shouldn't be living alive. Chainsaw Man should be a warrior that's a bloodthirsty killing machine. And Fujimoto's definitely using this as like a metaphor for the toxic side of the Chainsaw Man fan base and stuff like that. Or just like, not even, let me not say toxic side, let me just say the fans ourselves, like Makima and fake Chainsaw Man and all these people that comment on Denji are also just metaphors for the fan base, the fans that Fujimoto knows that like Chainsaw Man. And so Denji and fake Chainsaw Man start to fight, and it already looks sick. You can see Denji immediately transforms, and he actually like gets the drop on the fake Chainsaw Man and actually like cuts off his arm really fast, no diff, like super fast. Denji took no damage from that, and I'm excited. I hope this fight is able to show just how higher Denji is and his fighting prowess the entire part 1 and part 2, and just showing that like he not easy, like he should not lose to fake Chainsaw Man, right? And so we leave with this last panel where fake Chainsaw Man says, are you aware of the mistake you made? And this is where the chapter ends. And I believe that next chapter, fake Chainsaw Man is going to probably go more and more about his rhetoric about how Denji is supposed to be, how Chainsaw Man is supposed to be, and that he's a disgrace, yada yada yada. And I'm very excited for that. This next chapter could be very sick with their fight, and we'll probably learn more information about fake Chainsaw Man. I would love to hear more context with fake Chainsaw Man. Maybe he even says like, oh, like if this is the fake Chainsaw Man from the Fallen Devil arc, then hopefully he's able to say like, I saved you from the Justice Devil back then, and now I'm gonna save you, or now you're gonna save me, or something like that. I don't know, something that just shows or confirms that this is indeed the fake Chainsaw Man from that arc. But I think that's everything I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching the video. Leave a like, subscribe, and see more content like this, and hit that bell, post consistently, and I will see you guys on Tuesday with chapter 201. And I do want to work on another big video. I do want to continue my Dragon Ball Z movie rewatch series. I have to do Lord Slug, so I'm gonna try to get that done sometime in the next week or so, because I really want to keep going through that series and get through more movies and stuff like that. But see you guys later. Peace.